Hi, dragonflies. How is everybody today? I really hope you're doing well. Welcome or welcome back if you have been before. And if you have, thank you so much for returning. I've got a new mat, which I am particularly pleased about, but not a new stand yet. So if we get a bit wobbly again, well, that's something you're used to by now. So today we are going to have a little look at a few decks that have come into my collection. Now, these are specifically John Matthews decks. Now, I've mentioned in previous videos how much I love John Matthews. Just as a very quick explanation, John Matthews and his wife Caitlin are scholars, really, of ancient history, myths, legends, folklore of the British Isles, and that is just kind of me in a nutshell. It appeals to the history nerd in me. It appeals to the lover of magic in me. It appeals to my pagan soul. It appeals to the overwhelming amount of my DNA, which is either Southern English or Celtic, with a little tiny bit of Germanic thrown in here. And it just, it feels like my heritage. It feels like my history. And so, yeah, that's why I adore these decks so much. I'll try not to waffle too much. You know how hard that is for me, but a quick kind of thought that's come into my head is that I previously mentioned in a VR that I'm really intimidated by learning Lenormand. I have one Lenormand deck and I'm intimidated by it because it's a whole new system to learn. And I'm frightened that it will just knock the RWS right out of my head. Which is so silly, particularly when you consider that the majority of the John Matthews decks are not standard RWS at all. You know, the Wildwood Tarot, which I am so in love with, isn't standard RWS. And so it seems ridiculous to me now about the Normand. So, yeah, as I said before, I'm going to get the big girl panties out of the drawer and get on with actually learning Lenormand. I can do this. Okay, that bit out of the way. So I currently have and have shown the Wildwood Tarot, the Cathar Tarot, Tarot of Light and Shadow, Goblin Market Tarot, which I know I owe some of you a detailed walkthrough for, but I don't know whether I should do it as a long video with me sort of talking and waffling about the cards, or whether you just want like a walkthrough that's just focused on the cards with a little bit of pretty music in the background without me. So do let me know what you prefer and I will get that sorted. And also I have the Sherwood Oracle and possibly something else that I'm forgetting, but yeah, so I have shown all of those. And these particular John Matthews decks are new to my collection. And I'm really excited about them all. I've had a little look at them because most of them have come in within the last sort of week, maybe. So I'm just going to do a brief little kind of, it's almost like a flip through unboxing, not a review particularly, because I haven't used them yet, but I have had a little sneaky peek. So we will start with the Arthurian Tarot. This I got on Vinted, good old Vinted, and it's in gorgeous condition. And this includes the classic deck with revised and updated course book. Now, this is obviously based on Arthurian legend and has this sort of characters and themes of the Arthurian legend. It has, as is very much the case with all John Matthews decks, the most detailed of guidebooks that doesn't just give you a breakdown of the cards, which you need because it is pretty much a whole new system, but also how to use them, the thought processes behind them, where they fit into the story. Yeah, it's just you get so much that you could literally just sit here and read the guidebooks cover to cover before you even start with the cards, which is wonderful. I'm an information junkie. I love it. So yeah, it's a fabulous guidebook, which I'm definitely going to sit down and just read. This is the one thing that annoys me about some of the John Matthews decks, not all of them, but it's this 2-part box. It's quite a faff, honestly. But anyway, so I love the backs. They're pretty plain and simple, but I love them. Now the cards themselves, I love the artwork. I really do. The artwork, by the way, is by Miranda Gray. It's quite sort of light and simple. It's not overly sort of complex, but it's very, very pretty. It's very soft. I don't know how I feel about the borders. I don't normally mind borders, but there's a lot of border here, and they're not easily trimmable, I don't think. Well, I suppose you could maybe take it to here, but then I suppose you risk to a degree cutting off some of the detail in the card, which you don't want to do. But that said, I don't think that's going to bother me hugely, honestly, with this. So you have for the miners, you have spears, stones, grails, and swords, which aren't, terribly far off RWS. And then you have the Queen. But I think from my recollection, it's the majors that are markedly different. Well, mind you though, you have Guinevere. I think it's possible because you have a knight there as well. I think it's possible that you could probably read this. The Grail Hermit, you see. I don't know how well you would do if you tried to read this just straight out of the box without delving into the guidebook, honestly. But like I said, that's part of what I love about these decks is the information. It's great, and I love being able to get a deck that I can just get out and read simply. That's really important to me, to have decks that I can do that with, and I do have plenty. But I also, the sort of geek in me wants more information and more layers and more depth. So I like to be able to look at a card and say, okay, my initial feeling or interpretation about this is that particular thing. And start to look a little bit deeper. So that's why I really like quite a detailed card. So I think, is that Glastonbury Tour perhaps in the background? That would make sense. So, there is more in that card than just the figure. And then I like to go to the guidebook and get another layer. And I think that with the John Matthews decks, you get several layers, which I love about his decks. As I say, this was only going to be like a quick kind of walkthrough. Just a sort of aesthetic thing. The cardstock, it's sort of, it's relatively shiny, not overly thick, but it's perfectly fine. And, if you're into your fancy shuffling, which I'm still yet to master, then it's really good cardstock, I would suggest. But yeah, so my initial thoughts about this, look at that, where did it go? My initial thoughts about this deck are that I really like the artwork. I like the concept. I can put up with the borders. But I'm not immediately incredibly excited to pick it up and get started with it. There's something missing for me, and I'm not quite sure what it is yet. But as with everything, you know, you need to give it a chance. So at some point when the mood takes me, the moment calls me, I will work with this a little bit more deeply and try and build the connection that isn't currently there. I love it, I like it, and I'm glad I have it, but I'm not rushing to read it. I'm not getting an emotional pull, which I quite often do with decks. At the moment, it's just a nice deck with a cool concept. That's kind of how I'm feeling at the moment about it. But, you know, that may change. So that is the complete Arthurian tarot. And then I'll just pop that to one side. Shall we do the Byzantine tarot? This was an eBay find, and it was sealed in the original cellophane, but it got absolutely battered in the post, which I'm a little bit gutted about, but you know, I got it for a good price. I will almost certainly find a pouch or bag for it anyway. So this is obviously based on the iconography of the Byzantine Empire. Now, this is a test for me, isn't it? I want to say 5th to 14th century, somewhere around there. So obviously it's sitting within one of the periods of history that I love. I love illuminated manuscript. So, you know, again, this was always a deck that was going to appeal to me. And we have, so the suits, the minor suits are Swords of Power, Staffs of Office, Cups of State, and Coins of Empire. So actually, this one is probably, out of all of them that I'm going to show today, probably the one that's going to be easiest to just take out of the box and read without delving too deeply into the guidebook. But I think the artistic style of this is a really big draw. And actually, it's not necessarily a sort of an area of expertise for me, because as I say, I guess British history is more my thing, but I'm a European history, and yeah, anyway, I guess what, I digress. But we have the characteristically fabulous guidebook. This is actually really nice quality. And yeah, Ancient Icons, the story of Byzantium. There is, again, a whole heap of inspiration. So you've got your design inspiration there, how the deck was created, and then you'll have some history. Oh, that's good, yeah. And so then you've actually got your correspondences to the RWS, which is useful. Although I think, honestly, most of them would probably be quite obvious. You've got the Holy Fall as the Fall. Patriarch as the hero. I think, yeah, I would imagine, honestly, that they would be fairly obvious anyway. And you have Swords of Power being fire. Staffs of Office air. I don't know if that's everybody's interpretation of the elements in the RWS. Cups water, and coins earth. So everything RWS is there, it's just renamed. So actually I think you could probably read this out of the box. So the court cards, you have counts, countesses, knights, and pages. That's fairly, again, self-explanatory. So yeah, and then you've got your usual card descriptions and your keywords. Thank you, that's the word I was looking for. So yes, that's the guidebook with some spreads as well. And then I love the backs of these cards. I hate the box because just can't get... come and join Dilly on her channel. It's so professional. Right, yeah, they are definitely going in a pouch because that's going to drive me mad. Anyway, I love the backs of these. They have kind of that illuminated manuscript feel about them. How did I even knock that? I wasn't actually close to it then. Anyway, there's your Countess of Cups. I love the blues in this deck particularly. They're just so gorgeous. And also, you know, you could, again, because this has got sort of, well, see, look, you've got your 10 of Cups there with the rainbow. You could definitely read this out of the box if you are familiar with RWS. And because of that, I think that actually it's probably, and because it's kind of colour-coded as well, I think you could probably just kind of trim this down and still be pretty able to read this. But again, like, the borders don't bother me massively in this one. Wait till later. But it's just, I love the artwork so much. It's so my style. It's so gorgeously historical and ancient, and but as I say, it is pretty readable. There you go, look, 10 of Staffs, that's classic 10 of Wands. So yes, as I say, you can read this out of the box, but I will absolutely be in the guidebook because I'm excited about this one and I want to know more. And I love the fact that it's a John Matthews deck. I love this 4 of Staffs. It's got this lovely tapestry feel about it. What was I saying? See, I do this. This is my... If you haven't been before, you won't be familiar with my random little tangents and then losing my train of thought. But just as a pre-warning. Yes, so as I said, they are colour-coded. But I like the fact I've got a John Matthews deck that I could, if I wanted to, just read off the bat. But, as I said, you know, the guidebooks are so rich with information and will give me so many more layers that I definitely will be delving into it. So yeah, as I say, I could bang on forever and we will be here forever. So we've got green there for the coins, blue for cups. We haven't had any majors yet, have we? So the majors are in this sort of gold as your Holy Fall, Emperor and Empress. That's a nice Lover's card. Justice, Wheel. Yeah, so as I say, you can absolutely read this straight out the box. But the guidebooks are so good that you just kind of have to. Anyway, that is the Byzantine Tarot, Wisdom from an Ancient Emperor, and that one I really, really love. Definitely preferring it at the moment over the Arthurian Tarot. Definitely feel a bigger connection to that one, and I like the fact that it's just that little bit more immediately relatable. Okay, now if I can get that one vaguely back into the box. This box is going to drive me mad. Right, I will. Let's do an oracle. Let's do that. So this is the Beowulf Oracle. This is obviously John Matthews, but this is with Virginia Chandler and is illustrated by Joe Machine, which I think is one of the best names I've ever heard. It's so cool. So Wisdom from the Northern Kingdoms. For those that aren't familiar with Beowulf, Beowulf is an epic poem written in Old English, but set in Scandinavia during the era of the Vikings. So we're talking 5th century? Oh no, don't try and get dates, Sarah, because you'll get them wrong and someone will pop on the comments and go, no, you call yourself a history nerd, you clearly haven't got a clue. Anyway, so this uses the characters and archetypes to build an oracle. I did start, do you know what? You guys are going to think I'm like Miss Rabbit from Peppa Pig, like what have you not been doing? But I have recently started to learn a little bit of Old English. It was one of my particular hyper-focuses that may have fallen slightly by the wayside at the moment, but I will pick it back up again. But to the point where myself and my husband have started calling each other husbander and weef, because we just thought that was brilliant. just ignore me, honestly. Fast forward through the waffle if you need to. So, as ever, really deep guidebook, which I think even if you are familiar with Beowulf, it does give you the story retold in there. Even if you are not familiar with Beowulf, I think if you are familiar with Beowulf, I think it's worth delving in. The meanings themselves of each card are relatively brief, but then you get a little bit more. Oh yeah, on the backs of some of them. Yeah, see, as hero, as challenger, yeah. So you get a lot about the relationship to the story, but also what that then means for the card. And I think it's this one that you also have runes that are related to each character or archetype. Bear with me, somewhere in here. I'm sure this is the deck, but yeah, there you have realms, spread. This is really frustrating. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So each card has a rune that is that corresponds to it, is the word I was looking for there. So obviously that would be the Viking connection. So for example, Shield Chiefson, is Fehu, which is wealth abundance rune. Yeah, anyway. I haven't even shown you the cards yet, so I shall press on. Now, one thing with most John Matthews Oracle decks, or at least the ones I currently own, you don't get a lot of cards for your money. If you're a kind of 44 and above Oracle deck lover, then you might be a bit disappointed with the quantity here. And these are actually a really lovely cardstock. They're a lot heavier weight than the other two I've shown, and they're more matte. They're a little bit more rose petally, well, yeah, with a little bit of a shine. I love the backs. That's giving me Alice Roberts, Digging for Britain, Time Team vibes, which I'm totally here for. And I really like the artwork. This is quite different from the majority of the John Matthews decks that I currently have. And I love that about it. And this almost gives me the colour ones. What tarot deck am I thinking of? Am I thinking of Tarot of a Moon Garden? It's almost giving me like a sort of faded version of that artwork. It's got that kind of vibe to it. But this deck, I feel already power coming from this deck. This, the fact that the figures are absolutely staring you in the eye, straight on. You aren't going to get a nice, gentle little pat on the back and a hug and say, it's all right, sweetheart, with this deck, I don't think. This is a deck if you really need some serious answers and a serious kick up the posterior, I think. I mean, that could intimidate people. I know that some people don't like their cards literally staring into their soul. But whoa, Grendel's mother. Oh gosh, and is this Grendel? Yeah, look at Grendel. Come on. I mean, this is not an oracle deck that, you know, for your daily affirmations, is it? This is right, I need an answer to this, and I need an honest one, even if it is a little bit terrifying. Yeah, that's going to be a very specific use oracle deck, but I think I love it. Like I said, I can feel power coming from that deck already. Yeah, so that is the Beowulf oracle. Okay, going back to tarot, we will look at, I think, the Grail tarot. I am super excited about this one for obvious reasons. It's smack bang in the period of history that I'm interested in. The Legend of the Grail and the Knights Templar. It's, yeah, I don't need to keep banging on about how this is, you know, a very me deck, but it's a very me deck. This is illustrated by Giovanni Caselli. And the idea through this deck is to take the characters from the Grail story and the Knights Templar. See, it's another one of these decks where the cards just disappear down this little hole, and I can't have that. That's really frustrating. It's one of my bugbears, actually, about a lot of John Matthews decks. It's the one thing that I wish wasn't the case. Anyway, where was it? Yes, so it basically takes the quest for the Grail as the Fool's Quest. So where in RWS, obviously, you have the Fool's Journey through the cards. This particular quest is the quest for the Grail. The story of the Grail is one of the most famous ever told. Indeed, it is. Again, characteristically, super detailed guidebook. You have, what have we got for our minors here? I'm trying to remember. We've got swords and stones. And I think it's obviously lances, and I think the other one's got to be vessels. Yeah, vessels. And your court cards, you've got Lady of Vessels, Master of Vessels, sorry, I'll put my teeth back in, Preceptor of Vessels, Brother of Vessels. Okay, and then your majors are renamed. And they are all sort of based on, as I said, the Knights Templar and the story of the quest for the Grail. So this isn't going to be a straight out the box deck. We're on the wobble again, obviously. Again, it's going to be a delver, but that's fine. Like I say, that's why I like them. And again, this is actually pretty decent cardstock. Again, it's got a real rose petal feel on the back, and it's a little bit shinier on the other side, which is bizarre. If you are a reversal reader and you don't like having little kind of brand stamps or copyright messages on one part, then this will bug you. I don't always read reversals, so it's not something that worries me. Now these, I think the artwork in these is glorious. I think there is so much to be found within the imagery. It isn't just surface level. And as I say, that is what I love to find. I mean, see, look, the Holy Sepulchre, I really want to go all the way back to here. I want to get like a magnifying glass out and dig into whatever's in the back there. So, and we've got the images of the Knights Templar there, and there's so much in here that I want to know about. And that gets me excited. I'm also absolutely delighted that we don't have any borders. It's a borderless deck, which makes me very happy. I'm not a kind of full-on hater of a border. I just don't like it when they are intrusive or unnecessary. But yeah, the artwork in this is so gorgeous. I am genuinely feeling the vibes from this deck. whereas I didn't with the Arthurian tarot. This is one that I am genuinely excited about. I'm getting kind of, you know, tingly hands already. Take a look. Procession of the Grail. There is a lot in that card. Oh gosh, 5 of Swords. Look at that. Yeah, see, I just cannot wait to get stuck into the detail of these. I cannot wait to be, you know, to learn the connections between the history, the legend, and the tarot. Oh, look at that. Yeah, like I say, I'm doing that thing now. You can tell when I'm really, really passionate about a deck that I go kind of quiet because I just get lost in the cards. Oh, I see what's happening there. And in the background. Yeah, she's gone. That's it. You can tell this is going to be a favourite because... yeah, but see, the 10 of Swords is quite RWS. Yeah, anyway, I'm getting lost in it and you're not going to get to see anything. And it's going to be the longest video ever. So, right. Anyway. Yeah, I just see, why can the others not be borderless like that? You know, like I said, I'm not a real stickler for a borderless card, but I do prefer it in this case. Look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous cards. Okay, so yeah, I'm really excited about that one. So that's one I'm 100% going to be working with as soon as I can. I didn't put this in my possible deck choices for August, but I'm kind of starting to think that I'm so excited about it, I might do it. I don't know, I did want something a little bit lighter for August, but you know, I can change my mind. Yeah, so that is the Grail Tarot, Temper Vision, which is super exciting. So we have one more Oracle and one more Tarot. So fear not, you will be able to go and escape and get on with your day soon, if you haven't already. Okay, this is one I have had on my wish list for the longest time. Again, this is absolutely a deck that is appealing to my pagan heart. The Green Man Tree Oracle. I don't have any other tree-based decks, tarot or oracle, and I know there are some out there, but I haven't got them because I've been waiting for a version of this to come up that wasn't hideously expensive. And I found it finally, like last week on eBay, and I'm so happy. The box is a little bit worse for wear. It's been through the mill, but I don't care because I have it and I am... yeah, see, I'm feeling quite emotional again about this deck. Ancient Wisdom from the Greenwood. It's at Will Worthington and John Matthews, just like the Wildwood. No Mark Ryan, but we have 2 out of 3, which is making me happy. And oh gosh, I'm so in love with this deck already. Again, brilliant guidebook, how to reading the trees. You have let me see if I can find, there is some, sorry, bear with me. You're not used to silence in my videos, are you? I should probably just let you have that little bit of peace. I can't find where it tells you about the... oh, come on, this is really frustrating, and this is going to make the... right, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find it and cut this bit of the search out of the video. No, but now I found it, so I don't need to do that. Okay, yeah, so this gives you the ancient Irish word oghams for gives you the reference. Sorry, I haven't got my reading glasses on. These references told diviners the secret meaning of the Ogham letters. Yeah, all of which you have here. And these, I think, are on all the cards. Yeah, sorry, I'm going to be here forever if I carry on like that. But yeah, as you can see, the box is properly knackered. So again, this is going to need a pouch or a bag. Again, we are light on card numbers with this oracle, which is disappointing. We're very light, actually, on card numbers for this. But when you see the cards, you'll just go, oh, that's okay. I love Will Worthington's artwork with an absolute passion. And this deck is no exception. This is not like me. I'm a people-y deck person. I like to have people in my tarot and my oracle. But I have such an emotional pull to this deck that it doesn't matter that they don't have people in them. But then some of them have these wonderful ancient faces within the trees, which just, it's spine-tinglingly good. It's just, it fills me with magic. I can't explain. I get just, it's the same sort of tingle I get from the Wildwood Tarot. It's just, it's like, is it a knowing? I don't know. It's just, it's filling my heart and my soul, and yeah, I just get tingly excitement, which really, it kind of surprises me a little bit with a non-peoply deck. But then I can see a face there. I wonder if that's on purpose, whether that's just a bit of pareidolia from me. I don't know, but pareidolia, no, never mind. Oh God, what have I become? Dragonflies. Yeah, but I mean, gosh, the hawthorn. Look at his face. Oh, yeah. I don't know why I had to have this. I wouldn't normally be going for a tree-based deck, but I knew as soon as I saw this existed, I had to have it. I don't know why. It was just such a pull, and it's just, there's just something in it. There's just something magical in this deck. It is touching my soul, and I am feeling a bit emotional about it. So yeah, that's the Green Man Tree Oracle, Ancient Wisdom from the Greenwood, and I am besotted with that one. And finally, you will be delighted to know, is this one. Now, I did pop this in my short as a possible study deck for this month. I don't know if that's going to happen because, as I said, I think I need something much lighter for August, having done quite a heavy load of work in July. But we'll see. So this is a John Matthews and Will Kingan deck, as is, which is the Tarot Medieval I've got, which is also Will Kingan. I think I've got another one. Anyway, this I have been ridiculously excited about. I've put the lid on the wrong way around. Again, obviously it's right slap bang in the period of history I'm fascinated by. I am utterly fascinated by Nostradamus. Obviously there's the divination side of it, the connection it has with our modern world, the impact it still has, and this deck kind of came about, if I read this a little bit, less known is that in 1994 the Italian National Library in Rome, a manuscript believed to be by Nostradamus was discovered along with 80 mysterious paintings drawing heavily on the symbolism of the tarot. With great excitement, John Matthews and Will Kingan realised the implications of this work and, after much research, now bring it to fruition as the Lost Tarot of Nostradamus. With fresh translations of the original quatrains by Caitlin Matthews, the astounding power of the prophecies is married to the predictive imagery of the tarot for the first time. This is, without question, the ultimate oracle from the primary prognosticator. Thank you very much, Teeth. And probably one of the most important decks of our age. How could I not be chomping at the bit to get this deck? What an absolutely fascinating concept. The connection between those images from the Italian National Library, the work, the quatrains of Nostradamus, and tarot. I mean, it just feels like the most natural link. So this deck has had me absolutely, I've had to get my hands on it. I can't remember the last time I was this excited to get hold of a deck. Okay. The book is brilliant, which is no surprise to any of us, I'm sure, because they always are. What I particularly like is that you get, let's have a look at, yeah, I mean, look, for example, so the lovers. So you have some information about the symbolism in the artwork. You have the interpretation, and there's also sort of correspondences and things in there, and how they may link to the tarot as we know it. And then you have your keywords, or visions as they're called in here. Then you have the couplet from the original quatrain of Nostradamus. In this case, for the lovers, it is, "From great oppression and calamity, the wedding contract transforms tears and sighs." And then you have the prophetic reference, which is where the Nostradamus prediction or prophecy has been linked with an event that's actually happened. In this case, the marriage of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. Now, I'm fairly sure he may have had some other predictions after that. But yeah, I just love, again, I'm going to sound like Donkey from Shrek because I keep talking about layers, but I absolutely love the fact there are so many layers in this deck particularly that I have, just looking at the book, I just got so excited. And it's the flipping 2-part box, which does my head in, but I'm going to let that slide, just like the cards do inside of it. I love the backs. We have decent cardstocks, kind of the shiny. Oh, look, it's got, I'm nicking it already. I think this is the deck I bought new. It's the only one I bought new. But I love the backs. Then, dear dragonflies, is where my heart sank a little bit. And I wonder if you can see why. Having said I'm not a massive stickler for borders, in this case, I think they're going to infuriate me. Now, I don't know whether it's... I don't know what the reasoning is behind it, but I just feel the cards are so dominated by these heavy borders that the artwork is really playing second fiddle. And honestly, I found this with the Tarot Medieval, which is also a Will Kingan deck, that I was a little bit underwhelmed and disappointed by the artwork. And I don't think it's at all helped by these massively heavy kind of Gothic window styley borders. And that really made my heart sink a bit, because as you can tell, I've been so excited about this deck and everything it stands for, all the research, all the connections, the history, and then I've just kind of gone, oh, I mean, is it just me that's a little bit disappointed by that? And I hate that I'm disappointed by it. I really am. So I'm going to give it a chance because I have to. Because I think that everything that this deck is, aside from that, I love. And I really, really want to understand more the link between tarot and the artwork and Nostradamus. I really do. You know, I'm that person that will watch a documentary about something and then have to find 7 more documentaries to get a different point of view, buy all the books about it and Google it. It's like I have to have all the information about something I'm interested in. So I will work with this deck, but I just find the artwork lacking, and I don't know if it would be better if it was borderless, or at least didn't. I mean, they're making the borders part of the artwork in a way, I guess. But I don't know. It's just not doing it for me, the artwork, and that's genuinely heartbreaking. But I am going to give it a chance, just like I will eventually give the Tarot Medieval a chance, because I had that feeling with that one too, because I was so excited about it. And then the artwork made me go, oh. And they're both John Matthews and Will Kingan decks, and I feel a bit guilty, but I can't help it. I'm sorry. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just, I'm not. Oh, dragonflies. What am I trying to say? Yeah, I'm just a little underwhelmed, I think, by the artwork and what I'm getting from it. So, yeah, anyway, I am at risk of just banging on again, aren't I, for too long. But yeah, I as I say, the concept is so good that I am going to give it a chance, and I may fall deeply in love with the deck. But we shall see, dragonflies, where we go with that. So yeah, that is it for my current John Matthews haul. I did order the Celtic Book of the Dead Oracle by Caitlin Matthews today, after a bit more research into their work. So I'm really excited about that one. I will let you know when that arrives. And there's a few more I know of their decks that I don't have yet. A couple I'm not so sure on. A couple that I definitely want to get. But that is it for now. Thank you so much for sticking with me and for watching. I hope that it was of interest to at least some of you, if this is your kind of genre. But yeah, thanks so much. I hope that you have a really awesome day. Take care, dragonflies, and hopefully I will see you again soon.